basically the process is from everything that I understand is that pretty much no matter what happens, if you get a gun in before it leaves, you're getting a background check or you're checking for someone that has a license, right?
That's right.
And what happens if they buy the gun but they don't pass the background check?
Then they don't get to buy the gun.
What happens to the gun?
They get their money back.
Okay.
It stays at the store.
It stays at the store and...
Now, if they do it on the Internet,
Uh-huh.
if they buy it on the Internet and have it shipped here, and they come here to do the background check and to do the transfer, and they get denied,
Mm-hmm.
then that's between whoever they bought it from and them.
So if they tell you to send it back, then maybe they get their money back that way.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks about people that order on the Internet is they might not always pass the background check. And they've already paid for the gun before the gun gets shipped, and then the fellow may not have a no return policy.
Right.
But I can't transfer the gun. And then, of course, he'll say, well, let me come do my wife. Give my wife come do it. I said, no, you already tried, and you cannot pass a background check, so you cannot have that gun.
At that point, it becomes a straw purchase, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so, I mean, you would have the option as the FFL to maybe buy it from the guy, from the person who couldn't pass the background check, so you could keep it and maybe sell it to somebody else.
I could.
But pretty much that gun's not leaving the store unless you've got the right paperwork, right?
That's right.
And that goes for any gun leaving your store, right? I mean,
right.
Unless you're sending it to another FFL, you've got to have the paperwork. There really is no loophole.
Not really. But what they're trying to do is, because they're doing private sales on some like East Texas Gun Trader, or there's several different localized sites, and I think it's called East Texas Gun Trader. It's on a Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing on there is they'll post their thing. It'll hit 7 or 8 counties around here, and somebody will want to buy it, and so they'll just meet some parking lot and sell it.
But that's no different than someone going to a gun show and buying it, though. It's a private person-to-person sale, right?
It's a person-to-person sale, but at the gun show they're starting to require handgun. I mean, most of them, and most people there are dealers,
right?
And so they got to do the background check.
But the private sellers still aren't required to do that, at least not in Texas.
They're not required. It just opens their audience. It opens up the audience to the felons and the people that cannot pass a background check,
mm-hmm.
and them being able to buy a gun, even though they know they're not supposed to, but they buy it anyway.
Yeah, that's why I don't like to go to the Dallas gun show. It's like it's like walking around a big gang convention.
I appreciate the support passing things out.
All right, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, it's like walking around a gang convention. There's all kinds of sagging pants and sideways guns pointing everywhere.
And there's and even at gun shows, there's a lot of selling or dealing that's going on in the aisles, not on the tables, just between individuals.
Right. I've done that. I've bought a gun from someone just walking down the aisle. Had a sign on his backpack about something.
Yeah, and it could be, I would be leery of that because you don't know if it's stolen, you don't know if it's broken, you don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't buy one from somebody that wouldn't give me a bill of sale, because
mm-hmm.
it does come back stolen. You better know who you bought it from.
Right.
So that would be, and if the guy wouldn't give me a bill of sale on one, I wouldn't buy it from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same way here. Whenever we come in and buy, or somebody comes in to sell a used gun or any of the guns, we get a copy of their driver's license. We make them fill out a bill of sale, and they sign it. And that way, and then if I suspect that it's stolen because it's too cheap or they don't know what they have or something, then I'll call it in and I'll have a complete. I'll be able to get the gun back to the owner.
Yeah, well, we did that when I brought in my wife's Glock 26, and we basically traded that in so she could get the Walther.
Right.
So yeah, you had me fill out all kinds of stuff. Okay.
Well, individual sales don't do that a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And so the seller does not know who he's selling to, and the buyer don't know who he's buying from.
Each time that I've bought one from a individual at a gun show, they've always asked to see my driver's license to I guess at least make sure I'm a Texas resident.
Right.
Which, as far as I understand, that's the only real legal requirement. You can't sell to someone out of state, right?
I can sell long guns, not handguns, and it depends on what state they're from. I have to follow their state rules.
Mm-hmm.
And they can actually, out of state can actually buy one here, but I have to ship it to a dealer in their state.
Right.
They can't take possession of it here.
Take possession and drive it across state lines.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm. Yeah, I can sell you an AK-47 with a 100-round drum, but I cannot sell you a little bitty mini revolver that holds 5 rounds of .22.
Insane. The insane gun laws.
The whole thing is, yeah.
We can thank the politicians for all the mess, and then they lie on top of that to try to make it even worse.